YouTube, how are you guys doing today? It is me again, your favorite Texas trucker. I am at the house for the weekend. I've got the truck plugged in. Came home. I'm about to go back out again tomorrow morning. This is Monday. I was going to get the truck washed. Went down to Triple C. I got a new drive tire on the other side. Went down to Triple C. And on the way back, I was going to get the truck washed, as it damn sure needs it. It is definitely a dirty mess. But, unfortunately, the blue beacon had a line running out the door. So, that wasn't happening. I think I've got one of these chains is loose. So, I'm going to have to find out which one it is. And fix it before we run out. We're headed to Emmett, Arkansas, where we're going to deliver these spools. And then from Emmett, I've got about an hour drive to get to my next load, which goes to Indiana. And this week is going to be a relatively short week. Kids going back out with me for another week. And then I see which one it is. Yep, it's that last one right there. Alright, we'll tighten it up. But the kid's going out with me for one more week. And then we'll be bringing him home. He's going to start school. So I'll be gone for a week this time. Come back, run through the house. And then head on back out again. We got Katniss kicking back up here. That's one of my cats. And Tigger kicking back out here. These are our two outside cats. I think we run an animal shelter out of our yard. Got two dogs inside. They're kicking back, relaxing. And then two more cats. But anyway, I just wanted to give you all a quick update. Talk about a couple things. And, maybe kind of encourage you guys a little bit. We can all use a little bit of encouragement every now and again. I know a couple of guys who've gotten into this trucking thing and found it to be a little bit harder than what they expected. Now they're questioning whether or not they can make it. I know a couple other guys that have been in the trucking thing for a while and decided to go make the jump to become owner-operators, and found out that's a hell of a lot harder than they expected. I got a couple friends of mine right now that are signing on to Triple C, and they're doing the lease purchase thing. I got mixed feelings about the lease purchase thing, and I've talked to y'all about that several times. On one hand, it's a way for somebody that just doesn't have $10,000, $15,000 set aside to get into the ownership of a truck. Lease purchase at Triple C, the lease purchase isn't done by Triple C, it's done by Quality. So, the people that pay your paycheck are not the people that are doing your lease purchase. So, there is definitely an advantage there. But, the whole lease purchase thing, I just don't know. And it's not, I've got mixed feelings about it. I'm down for the people that, get into it, but the cost is just so high that it makes it really difficult to succeed. And honestly, I kind of worry that some of these guys, may not make it. I don't talk a lot about how hard I have to push out here in order to make what I make. I push a lot harder than I want to, and I push a lot harder than I think we should have to. The market right now, it's trash, and it's hard. It's really hard. And it's something that I'm struggling with right now. Not that it's hard, I mean, I'm not scared of hard work, never have been, and I'm not scared of doing whatever I got to do to make, to make a living. But there comes a point where you're working too hard for the amount of money that you're bringing in, and that's almost what we have to do these days. I'm leased on at Triple C, and there's a lot of control that I have to give over as an owner-operator, being leased on. We run off a dispatch service, or we have a dispatch service, or I guess we should say we have dispatchers at the company, and I've never been good with letting somebody else decide what kind of money I make. I want to have the control of picking the loads, negotiating the loads, and knowing that, if I couldn't get a better rate, then, the rate just isn't there. And, I looked at the national average last week. National average for flatbed was $1.91 a mile. This load right here pays, I want to say it's $1.70 a mile. So it's about 21 cents under the national average. On the other hand, it's a light ass load that's only about 13,000 pounds. And, and there wasn't nothing to it but to chain it, so it's not like I did a lot of hard work, dealing with it. But, it's below the national average. The load I'm picking up tomorrow after I deliver this load is $1.90. Our rates, they range anywhere from, $1.50, $1.60, $2.25, $2.30, and so we kind of have to make up the difference in pay through quantity. Okay, so if I'm not making the rate per mile that I feel like I ought to make, then I have to drive more miles to make the money, and that's where it becomes rough. It's where it becomes where you start questioning whether or not it's worth it or not. And I'm saying all this because I've got friends of mine that are not making it, or they're struggling with making it. Got this squirrel up there in the tree, but or they haven't made it, and they've quit. They've gone back and become company drivers. And I've said this many times, and I know that a lot of people don't agree, and without a doubt, you've got the right not to agree. When I became an owner-operator, I was looking at the end game in the short term. And we have an end game in the long term too, but I was looking at the end game in the short term, and that's that at some point, in a reasonable amount of time, I would own my truck outright. Okay, and once I've owned my truck outright, then that takes a huge burden off of the bills that I have to pay every month, and allows me to concentrate on nothing but maintenance. So the key for me, the whole backbone of my business plan, is to keep my operating cost, my overhead, as low as possible. In other words, I want my monthly payments to be low enough that I can handle the maintenance payments. And it's been a struggle, man, because I've put a lot of money into maintenance on this truck. A lot of it, for real. And it's been a struggle. And those of you guys that have been following me from the beginning, you know how much I've been fighting for this. You know how much I've gone through and how many things have gone wrong, and how nothing, for me, sometimes it seems that absolutely nothing goes right, I mean, y'all have seen it, you've experienced it with me, and what I want to say is that in business, in trucking, Doesn't matter what business it is, you know. But in business, you only get out of it what you put into it. And business requires everything you have. You have to put everything into it. But in the process, you have to make smart decisions. You know, I'm mechanically inclined, so the challenge of fixing the truck is frustrating, but it's a challenge that I'm willing to meet. Some of you guys may not be mechanically inclined, in which case maybe having a bumper-to-bumper warranty is definitely a better deal for you. And if that's the case, man, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. But you have to make smart decisions. And so that means that there's going to be months in the year when you make really good money. You know, I mean, there were several months back to back when I was making between $2,500 and $3,000 a week after my expenses. I'm down to, you know, around $2,000, $2,100 a week right now. And that may change, you know, that may come up and down. I've had a lot of things come up, so. And like I said, this week I'm only going to be out for a few days, and I'm going to be running back through here to drop the kid off and be rolling right back out again. So, you know, it is what it is. But on those weeks or those months where you're making really good money, you have to set some of it aside and save it for the months when you're not making such good money. Because a lot of people get into this idea of thinking, well, I have to make X amount of money every week in order to make it. And we'll just say, for instance, that the number is $1,500 a week. I got to take home $1,500 a week in order to make it. You know, that covers all of my bills and allows me to put money aside for taxes and all that. Well, it all sounds good, but it doesn't happen. One of the reasons I'm so against the quality truck leasing program is because those drivers, they get them 2016 trucks, and every driver without fail goes down there and gets a 2016 truck, and they've all got an excuse for it. They won't take the 2012s, they all take the 2016s, and out of the people that take the 2016s, about 50% of them fail in the first 3 months. And the reason for that is because there's weeks where I don't even take home $1,000, you know, and that $1,100, whatever the expense is for your truck every week, that comes out before you make anything. So you have $1,100 something come out, then you have all your fuel costs come out, and then you get paid, you know. So those expenses come out of your paycheck, and if you don't clear $1,100 that week, you don't make shit. And there's weeks I haven't cleared $1,100. There's weeks where, hell, just 3 weeks ago, I had a $28 paycheck. Cleared $28. The reason for that was the week I put my truck in the shop to get the whole front end repaired. I had one load that week. That one load covered the cost of my fuel. It covered the cost of my expenses at Triple C, you know, and $28 was left, man. That was it, you know. So there's weeks where you don't make that $1,100, and the bad part about that is that if you don't make that $1,100 payment, that money still comes out of your check. So then you start the next week negative. If let's say you only run one load, you run a $700 load, but your expenses are $1,100. So the next week you start at a negative $400 because you only made $700 that week. Now, in order to make it to before you can get paid, you've got to make $1,500. Okay, so let's say this following week you make $1,600. So you make $1,600, they take $1,500 of that, you get a $100 paycheck. You've got $100 to pay your bills for 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, you know, whatever. You know, the next week you're breaking even, so you make, you know, $1,500, you take home a $400 paycheck, you know. And I'm using these low numbers because they're realistic. I mean, there's many weeks out here, especially in dry van, where $1,400, $1,500 is what you're going to take home. You know, most people don't push as hard as I push. Most people don't run as hard as I run. Most people aren't willing to do what I do to make the money that I'm making, and I'm not trying to make myself out to be anything special. I wish like hell I didn't have to do what I have to do in order to make a living, you know. But I'm not happy, and I'm not satisfied if my check's not at least $2,000. So I push as hard as I got to push because I've got an end goal in sight. And you know, having to do this engine end frame set me back considerably. If it hadn't been for the engine end frame, my truck would be completely paid off right now. But because I had to do the engine end frame, and because I had to get the company I bought the truck from to finance the engine end frame, that put me $15,000 behind schedule, and I've been paying that off. I think I'm down to $9,000-$10,000 owed on it again. I'll have the truck paid off within a year, and that's my short-term end game, to have that truck paid off completely paid off, so that I've got the title in my hand, and the only thing after that I have to worry about is insurance. Anyway, that's my end game. Stake in there, stick it out, fight the fight, and don't give up. That's my message. The wife's home. So we're going to go ahead and cut it off, and we'll get back to you later. Hope you enjoyed.